the 12 Days of Progmas, the Progtime End of Year Special.
Hello everybody, welcome to the special year's end episode of Progtime, the 12 Days of Progmas, because a lot of people are celebrating a lot of different things in December, and for us we felt like this was just a good way to look back at a lot of cool stuff that has happened this year. So everyone here at Layered Reality has made a list of 12 things that happened this year that we just want to put some attention on. So instead of the regular segments of us, we're not just going to do albums or vibe about bands, we're just going to talk about stuff that might be a bit personal, that is also music related and Layered Reality related, obviously. Now these 12 things that we've picked are not necessarily ordered, it's just 12 things we want to mention, like the 12 days of Christmas. It's not like the last one is the most important or the first one is the most important. Just want to put this out there. These are all of equal importance. Now, without further ado, let's go to the first one.
From Layered Reality Productions, and with me as always is my sidekick Little Ricky, and we're doing Progtime for December, but we are going to be doing the 12 days of Progmas. These are 12 reasons as to why 2024 didn't quite suck. Number one reason why 2024 didn't suck was because I started getting back into reading. Now, it's not that I can't read, I can read, I just sometimes don't have the time to read. So this time I decided to go back to one of my favorite authors, which is a gentleman by the name of Richard Kadrey. Now, if you've not read any of Richard Kadrey's stuff before, I highly recommend that you start with the series Sandman Slim. A fantastic series of books. I am currently reading a different book by him, which is called The Grand Dark. But the Sandman Slim series, if you like your books with a little bit of supernatural, cop drama, mafia drama, and a whole lot of gore, which is great, I highly recommend that you check out Richard Kadrey. So he is one of the reasons why 2024 didn't suck.
Hey everybody, it is James here once again for the 12 Days of Progmas, and as I am the resident Canadian here who still lives in Canada, sorry Lauren, one thing that always puts me in the Christmassy spirit is, unfortunately, being in the middle of a snowstorm right now. Yes, as I've lived in Canada my entire life, unfortunately I have always been at the cusp of Santa Claus's asshole. So all I can see outside is white right now. There's a plow, yeah, and the plow just went right into my car. So I'm gonna be talking about, at least in my segments, I'm gonna talk about some of my favorite albums of the year, some really great experiences, some shows, some travels. I'm also gonna recommend a book series that I recommend everybody to read. It doesn't really have much to do with music. I mean, there is music references in it, but still, I really liked it and you should read it. Anyways, anyone who's talked to me longer than 2 seconds, who already knows my tastes, knows that the first thing I'm gonna talk about in the 12 Days of Progmas is probably my number one favorite album of the year. And of course, it is the newest album from the metal gods themselves, Invincible Shield by Judas Priest. This album is definitely the best of the modern era. All of Priest's past records that they've done since Rob Halford came back for Angel of Retribution has always, at least in my opinion, had a couple of songs of filler, but this one is the first all-killer, no filler. The band is in top songwriting and performance form, especially for their ages. Rob Halford can still outsing most people, even a third of his age. So yeah, if you haven't listened to this album yet, go check it out. Even if you're not a big fan of old school metal, if you are just a metal fan in general, you would be remiss not to listen to this. So that is my first day down, and I better go check on things outside. Things are kind of looking dire, so see you soon.
Well, it's that time of year. That is, this is time for Progmas. I am Professor Rowan. Joining me is my fur child, Paulina, who has recently showed herself to be an absolute prog cat. For the first day of Progmas, I would like to start with a band from a country that has been all over the news. The band is called Wasaya, and it is the project of the musician Tarek Shehebi from Damascus, Syria. This is a soulful, passionate work of an album, and it features a wide array of guest musicians. And in this album, which has only one fault, being only 38 minutes, I would love for this to be longer, I am a fan of the Middle Eastern prog scene in general, and this is one hell of an album.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me. Progtime! Well, not really on Christmas. We started Progtime this year. For me, that was something I just wanted to mention as the first thing on the list. This show right here on YouTube is a lot of fun to make, and it's a lot of fun to do, especially now that we have Miss Editor there. Hello, Miss Editor, glad that you're helping us out. But for us, it's mostly just a great way to give love to the music scene and to give love to bands that we think deserve your attention. And everyone who watches this, sometimes it's a bigger audience, sometimes it's a smaller audience, but everyone who watches the show and interacts with it, you are loved, and we're looking forward to make a lot more episodes for you. Day 2. For me personally, this year was an interesting one. Some financial challenges, not gonna lie, but things are looking up. There's a lot more positive things happening right now. And in general, I just want to thank each and every one I was able to do cool work for. I did voiceovers for a lot of different things. I produced music for a lot of different things. I made videos for a lot of different things, including cosplay acts, company videos, a lot of different things. And I'm just happy with everyone who came to me for their creative needs this year, and I hope I can do that a lot more in the coming years.
Oh God, oh God. Okay, unfortunately, I am still in the snowstorm, and I just saw one of my neighbors go out to try and get help, and I think a pack of stray coyotes got him or something. There ain't much left of them. But anyways, we're here to talk about good stuff as normal, and the second thing I'm going to talk about in this series is a really great experience that I had this year. So for those of you who have known me and talked to me for literally longer than a second knows that I have my own band called Lycanthro. We're Canadian, obviously, and we played our very first festival in the USA at the legendary Legions of Metal Festival, taking place in Chi-Town, the Windy City, the land of CM Punk and Mindy's Bakery, Chicago, Illinois. It was an absolutely amazing experience to share the stage with such amazing bands, such as our contemporaries from here in Canada, like Unleash the Archers and Striker headlining, our good friends in Tower Hill, and we also made a lot of really other great friends from the States. Like, I want to give a special shout out to Displacer from Rochester, New York, and Owlbear from Boston, Massachusetts. It was an amazing experience. The crowd was incredible, and it's definitely one of the best shows we've ever played, and it was really nice to finally get to start playing internationally. Anyways, that's it for me for day 2. For now, I need to go get Tim's because I'm Canadian, so I'm gonna get my snowshoes and my coyote clubber.
Reason number 2. I recently became a massive Pain of Salvation fan. Yes, I'm going to say that I became a Pain of Salvation fangirl. I did an episode last season on Progtime about Pain of Salvation, and let me say I fell hook, line, and sinker. Everything about this band speaks to me. The lyrics, the music, the sound, the words, everything. I'm really hoping that they come over to the UK in 2025. I didn't get the opportunity to see them in 2024. However, I will keep my fingers crossed. If you have not listened to any Pain of Salvation, I highly recommend that you do. Again, I became a fan overnight, so there you go.
Next, we go south and west a little bit to Alexandria, Egypt. The album that I'm speaking of is called Equilibrium Tool by the band Odious. This is chef's kiss perfect symphonic death metal. Odious, as of a year or two ago, happens to be one of the 2 most best-selling Egyptian artists in metal. Even if you typically shy away from the ultra-heavy, you might want to give this album a chance. There are parts that come at you that make you think, oh wow, what song is this?
Reason number 3 why 2024 didn't suck. Now, reason number 3 is a lot more personal. A couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was probably the worst 2 years of my life. However, this year, thanks to the kindness of a very good friend of mine, a lady by the name of Nikki, a very talented tattoo artist here in the UK at Tower Tattoo. She very kindly offered to cover my mastectomy scar. Now, when I started my cancer journey, I didn't go down that route. And if I had known then what I know now, I would have saved myself a whole lot of pain and suffering and aggravation and hospital visits and just gotten it removed. But pride and vanity are very difficult to overcome, and I went the wrong way. But Nikki, she decided that she would help me out of the kindness of her heart and covered up my mastectomy scar for me. Now, obviously the algorithm's not going to allow me to actually show a photo of what it was, because even though there isn't a boob there, if you use the word boob, you're going to get flagged. Anyway, Nikki, you are a reason why 2024 didn't suck. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart, my dear friend, and I love you. And if you're watching...
And on number 3, I have the band, which is almost unpronounceable, HTETHTHEMETH, from Romania, who released an amazing live record through us on YouTube this year. There's like a whole live show for you guys to watch on high quality video. You really should check it out if you haven't yet. And I'm just beyond happy that these guys are working with Layered Reality. I'm proud to have them on the roster, and I can't wait to release their new album in 2025. We're not saying when, but I'm just saying that I'm just hyped. I'm excited to see what that is going to be and how that is going to do. So yeah, there you go. HTETHTHEMETH, place number 3 on my list is for you.
And now we go to an Israeli band known as Mythfortune. Their album Tales of Infinity, Part 2, The Fountain, is one of 4 excellent pirate metal albums to be released this year. And in this case, it's not symphonic power metal. And much less is it, as asinine and lowbrow as Ailstorm. This is progressive folk metal with pirates, narration, a story that involves a literary search for the remnant of humanity after an apocalypse of some sort. Check this one out. It's definitely the most interesting and the strangest pirate metal album.
Oh no, oh god. Half my neighborhood's gone, the coyotes got them. I might have to unleash my polar bear from the garage. I think he's getting hungry. Anyways, for today I'm talking about another one of my favorite albums for this year, and it is the newest album from Canadian power metal party stalwarts, Striker with Ultra Power. Now this album is an amazing, absolutely all killer, no filler album, and Striker is a band that absolutely tops themselves after every single release. I always thought their previous album, Play to Win, would be their best, but nope, this one's better. So if you like power metal with a little tinge of hair metal, go and listen to some of these amazing tracks. Some of them have already become instant classics. Best of the best of the best. Give it all, amongst others.
Next, this is a more well-known band. Probably not as well known as they should be, but known through their connection to other bands. I speak of Illumishade, featuring Fabienne Ernie from Illuvite. Her album, Another Side of You, released in February this year. This is progressive symphonic metal. Often, symphonic metal gets criticized for becoming kind of indistinguishable, everyone sounding like a Nightwish clone, but this is a progressive vision of what symphonic metal can be, and, I'm here for that. Back in May, my girlfriend Lily and my friend George, we traveled down to Baltimore to see Illumishade play with Visions of Atlantis and Corpiclani. One thing I never thought I would see is a fucking circle pit opening up during their set. But Illumishade really stole the show for me, and this show had some serious last day of the tour energy.
And on number 4, I want to mention Seventh Station. Seventh Station is a band that joined Layered Reality this year, or was it late last year? I'm not entirely sure. Time is a bit foggy, but this year we released an amazing live video by them for the song A Final Bow, one of my favorite songs they did. And they're working on a new release in 2025, which we will be releasing, called On Shoulders of Giants. It's going to be really cool. Obviously, I already heard it, but the first single is out now. You should check it out. And I can't wait to get that new EP out in February of 2025. It's going to be really killer, and I can't wait to hear what all of you guys are going to think of it. And guys, if you're listening to this, I'm very proud of you, and I know that the people that inspired you to write these songs will be proud of you as well.
I'm just shaken up because my polar bear has been eaten by the coyotes. Someone please send help. I'm here to talk about another one of my favorite albums from this year, and just another band that I feel like deserves more recognition in general, because they are absolutely amazing and fly so far under the radar, at least in North America. I'm of course talking about the epic symphonic folky metal masters from Spain, Celtian. Now, Celtian released, in my opinion, definitely a top 3 album this year for me in the album title, and I hope I don't butcher this, especially because I am part Latino. Secretos de Amor y Muerte, or The Secrets of Love and Death. Now, this album is an absolute masterclass in the symphonic folk metal genre, and this album is so amazing, has so many catchy and memorable melodies, has amazing instrumentation and a lot of experimentation as well. And of course, the best part, and me being a vocalist, it's obviously natural, is their frontwoman, Zana LaVey. She is probably one of my favorite vocalists in metal right now. Extremely versatile, so underrated. So if any of you have never checked out this band before and you like bands like Elevati or Nightwish or whoever, go check them out. I guarantee you, you will not regret it. If I can make a recommendation for one track off this album, I would say the track Malefico de Sangre, or Blood Curse.
Right, reason number 4, 2024 didn't suck, was I was given a massive opportunity to go out and be a merch manager for a band touring the EU in the summer, and that band is All Them Witches from Nashville, Tennessee. 4 of the sweetest guys that you could ever meet. I spent a couple of weeks on the road going all sorts of places in a van, which, if you've ever been in a long distance tour in a splitter van with 6 guys, it can be a little bit dicey at times. However, these were great. These guys were great. Front of house, driver, band. I went to some phenomenal festivals and had some fantastic club shows sandwiched in between those festivals. Places that I thought I would never be able to get to, especially Hellfest. That absolutely blew me away. That was the final night of the tour, and it was absolutely amazing. So, All Them Witches, which is Parks, Ben, Alan, and Christian, thank you for trusting me to be the person to sling all of your cotton bits and pieces. It's a job I love doing. It's a job I hope to get to do again. It was amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And you guys are another reason why 2024 didn't suck.
Number 5 on my list, Dreamwalkers Inc. This might sound weird considering that, well, I quit the band and made the decision to not play live anymore after playing a few shows with them this year. But I do want to mention this because for me, even though quitting the band was the right decision for me to do, I'm still proud of everything we did with Dreamwalkers Inc. But for me, I'm looking back on being in that band and doing the cool stuff that we did, because we played a lot of really cool shows. We did a live album, we did multiple albums together, and the Clahera album is one I'm very proud of as well. So in a weird way, even though I'm happy that I made the choice that I did, because I know it's the better choice for me, I'm still looking back on it with fondness, and I'm still happy to put it on my list here because we did a lot of cool stuff, and I hope people will remember that and we'll see that for what it is.
Released on November 22nd of this year and obtained as a promo by me a little bit earlier. I speak of Chasing Zeniths, and the album's entitled Epochs Changing. This is a symphonic progressive metal, more abstract, intellectual, kind of Aryan style, concept album. I'm amazed that this is an independent release. This has no business not having a record label behind it. This album straddles the line between symphonic metal, progressive metal, progressive rock and metal, and I'm all for it.
Reason number 5 is a big reason why 2024 didn't suck, and actually generally why my life doesn't suck, and that's because of my partner Chris. He is a fantastically talented drummer, he is a fantastically talented tour manager, and I am ever so grateful and proud to have him in my life. So Chewy, you are definitely a reason why 2024 didn't suck.
Oh, thank God the park rangers are here. And oh no. So it turns out that the park rangers can't do much either because the coyotes have somehow flipped their car and brutally murdered all of them. Help me! So today I'm actually going to talk about a festival I attended this year. Not one that I played, but one that I went to and I thoroughly enjoyed, and that was Mad with Power Fest in Madison, Wisconsin in the United States. This is a very great up-and-coming power metal festival. It's gained a lot of notoriety, and this year was no exception. It had some stellar bands, bringing in some of its first international acts, such as Fellowship, and of course my personal favorite, and the reason why I went, Japanese classic metal masters Anthem. And of course, lots of other great bands played there, like our good friends in Owlbear, of course the organizers of the event, Lords of the Trident, amongst many others. And it was such a great bringing together of community of power metal in North America. So if you have never been there, I highly recommend it.
The 6th one is Layers, because last year I started doing the show here on this YouTube channel called Layers, in which I interview people about the albums they released, and we talk through every song and have these in-depth conversations. And honestly, it's something that is giving me so much joy and bringing me so much life, because it's fun to geek out and talk to musicians about their work, about the music that they do, about all the cool things that they've been doing. You know, that for me, that's just such an integral part of life and art. And I'm just happy and grateful that I'm able to make these shows and that you guys seem to really like them. Also, if you have suggestions for me, for people that I should be talking to for Layers, drop them in the comments, because we can figure out if we can get them on camera, because I would love to do that. You know, more interviews is always more better. And I know that Miss Editor is really looking forward to editing more of those, because it's fun to edit and fun to put together. So there you go.
Reason number 6 that 2024 did not suck. Right. I work with Layered Reality Productions remotely. We're all scattered across the globe, and we never really get a chance to see each other apart from Zoom meetings. Well, this year I managed to actually meet one of my label brothers in person, and that would be my little hair twin, James, when his band Lycanthro dropped into the UK for a few dates, starting off at the Cart and Horses in London, Iron Maiden's birthplace, which again was a kind of a double thing because I'd never been there before, and I finally got to actually meet James face to face and shoot the just like we do in our Zoom meetings. And you know what? It was fantastic. I had a great time. I unfortunately had to shoot off straight away because the train system in this country is absolutely diabolical. And if you didn't leave at a particular time, well, let's just say you'd be sleeping in the train station. And I had to work the next day, so I didn't fancy that. But it was a great opportunity to meet up with James and listen to his band, and a fellow Canadian as well, which was nice to just shoot shit about back home. So you guys, you're a reason why 2024 did not suck.
Oh yes, Old Man Jones is getting his shotgun. We're saved. What? No. I swear those coyotes are bulletproof. I better stop looking out the window. I don't know how much longer it is before they find me. Anyways, welcome to day 6 of the 12th day of Progmas here on LRP. We are halfway through, baby. And of course today I'm going to talk about another one of my favorite albums from this year, from the absolute British mindfuckery that is Azure's new album, Fim. Now this album was definitely a huge highlight for me this year, and Azure is a band that they're such a throwback. I absolutely love that they're reminiscent of a lot of the neo-prog bands of the 1980s, like Saga, Marillion, and that's a genre and style you don't really see much nowadays, and it's certainly welcoming and refreshing. This album has definitely some of the most virtuosic playing I have ever seen from just any band ever. And obviously a big highlight has to go to a good friend of mine and a good friend of the label, Galen Stapley, also from Twilight Force. The guitar playing and the singing is just so masterfully done and almost Broadway-esque. Anyways, go check out this album. If you have to check out one track, check out The Trench of Nalu. That is a prog epic of the 21st century. Count on it.
Next, we go to a band from the United States, the band AfterTime, and their album Arcane Horizons. This is a band that I have been a fan of nearly from the beginning. In my trolling for music, I found their first 2 EPs back in 2018. They caught my attention, but I felt as though I'd wait for them to have a full-length album before really deciding what my take is. I pre-ordered their first album the day I found out that they were going to release it. And I have been a huge fan ever since. And I think these guys have a wonderful career ahead. I hope that some label picks them up because they really deserve it.
Number 7, the lucky number. I'm going to be talking about Omnerod. Now, Omnerod, the Belgian crazy band, released a new song called Panspermia this year. Well, technically not a new song. It's a reworking of an old song, but the way they reworked it, it's like a massive upgrade, and it's really, really good. And I'm just beyond proud that we've been able to release that this year on all the digital streaming services. So if you haven't heard it yet, please, please, please check out this song. It's so good, and it's just so crushing and so heavy, and I could gush about this song for hours on end. I'm not gonna. You just gotta check it out. It's really, really good. That's my number 7.
Reason number 7 goes back to my label brothers. Tom, Rowan, James, myself. We obviously, as I said, all work remotely and don't get a lot of opportunity to actually speak to each other than being on a Zoom call. But you know what? I consider each and every one of them to be my friends. And I really hope that 2024, it gives us the opportunity for all 4 of us to actually sit down in a room together and shoot the shit and talk about stuff and just enjoy being in each other's company. I think that would be fantastic. Tom does a great job with Layered Reality Productions. Rowan is some type of evil genius. James, you know what? He's Japanese obsessed, just like me, which is kind of neat. However, you know what? Hands down, they're my friends and they're important. And they are a reason why 2024 did not suck.
God, no, don't go! No! Well, it's official. The Coyotes have shown that they have become intelligent. The National Guard got called in by one of my few surviving neighbors. The Coyotes took the dead people's clothes and have now blended in with the neighborhood. And now the National Guard have left, and I don't know what to do now. Anyways, welcome to day 7 of the 12 days of Progmas. Now today I'm actually going to talk about another event / thing that was very monumental for not just myself this year, but also my band Lycanthro. And that is, I mentioned earlier that we had played in the States at Legions of Metal Festival, and it was our very first time playing internationally. Well, we also had another big first this year, and that was our first time being able to play overseas. We got to play at Power Metal Quest Fest in the UK. We made a little bit of a tour around it, and by tour I mean 3 dates, but those 3 dates were still amazing. We got to play at the legendary Cart and Horses in London, the birthplace of Iron Maiden, where I also finally got to meet my fellow Canadian and fellow LRP co-worker / friend, Lauren, who came to see us and also helped us with our merch because she is way more competent about that stuff than we are. But in all seriousness, that show was a blast. It was great playing in such a legendary venue. And then we also played probably one of the most intimate gigs we've ever played in my family's hometown, Bristol, England, at the Griffin. That place was a really, really great venue, really great, passionate crowd, and just good vibes all around. And of course, Power Metal Quest Fest was amazing too. Got to play with some bands like Twilight Force and Skiltron, among many others, and that's definitely probably one of the best, if not the best gig I think we've ever played. Hopefully this feeling of dread from the Coyotes ends soon.
Staying on the theme of American bands, we take you to Connecticut for an album that is actually rather an EP. This is a band to really watch out for. They're a form of symphonic power metal that has a proggy, even avant-garde twist at times. in their song Ironbound, off of their EP Alter, you have a little dueling sax and guitar solo. You don't hear this in power metal, you don't hear it. And power metal would be a far superior genre if more bands took this kind of whimsical approach and released only their strongest songs.
Number 8, a more personal thing. I wanted to mention, and I feel that this is something I want to mention on camera because I think it's important. I started therapy again this year, and this is something that I was not ready for a few years, but I got back into it now, and I feel that it's something we should be able to openly talk about without, any weird faces or whatever. And I must say that I'm happy I did. It's bringing me a lot. It's also reprogramming my brain, so there's a lot happening that I'm kind of figuring out as I go, but that's okay. I'm quite happy with that. And I feel that it's gonna help me be a better version of myself, and I feel that every way you can, improve yourself over time is a good thing. So I'm happy that I'm able to do that right now. And yeah, that's also very much on this list because it's something I'm happy with.
Reason number 8 is that idiot right there, who's currently patrolling the neighborhood and making sure that nobody can get up to my second story flat above a shop and do Mummy any sort of harm. Little Ricky is another reason why 2024 did not suck. I still have my older dog, which is Brian, and you know what? I'm so glad that the pair of them get along. Brian is currently sleeping, as old men do, and Ricky is currently eating the sofa, what puppies do.
Next, we go to a band that has been a favorite of mine for about 7 years now, whose latest album I was waiting for with bated breath. I speak of Kingcrow and their album Hopia, progressive metal masterpiece, released in August of this year. As a philosopher, I'm drawn to albums that have philosophical terms and a hint of rampant intellectualism. And, well, I was really impressed. This is progressive metal with a sort of darker, more melancholic approach, in some cases reminiscent of Pain of Salvation. This album reminds me of the best of Anathema, Ulver, and Pain of Salvation, all rolled up into one unholy trinity of melancholic, cerebral, passionate, progressive metal.
Idiots. So it looks like I'm feeling a lot better. The overwhelming sense of dread is starting to come down a bit. So even though the coyotes have gained intelligence, it looks like they haven't gained that much intelligence because they're trying to find the rest of the survivors by masquerading as Canadian Bell phone salesmen. And if you're a Canadian, you never answer your door for those anyways. So victory for us today, but I don't know how long that'll last. Today I'm going to talk about another one of my top albums of the year, and that is the self-titled effort from Japanese metal maestros, Ryujin. Now, Ryujin I've already talked about at a decent length on my segment on Progtime, being Tokyo Tunes. They're definitely one of the best up-and-coming bands from Japan, and they've been taking the whole metal world by storm this year with their rebranding from Gisei to Ryujin and the subsequent new album that came with it. Now, this album is absolutely amazing, and for those of you who are in doubt, it's basically what happens when you take ex-Japan and Children of Bodom and you put them into a blender, and then that blender came out in the feudal area and it decided to fight Inuyasha. Go check out some of the really standout tracks, Ryujin and Fujin, the Rainbow Song. Go listen to the album right now. Do it!
Next, we take you to Italy again with the last band that I featured on Progtime. If you missed it, that was Isle of the Cross and their magnificent Faust the Musical. Melodic power metal really has to be exceptional. to get my attention, hold my attention, and make me a fan. These guys, they make me such a fan that I actually regularly listen to the orchestral version bonus track on the album. I usually wind up skipping that. If you're skeptical of this being prog-worthy, one of the guest vocalists on this album is James Labrie of Dream Theater.
Number 9, Disconnected Souls. I wanted to mention these guys. We signed a contract with them because they released an incredible album, Fragments of Consciousness, and we were able to release that album physically on CD, and digitally we released an instrumental version of the album on streaming services right now. And if all goes well, when this video is out, they released a new Christmas song, which also came out through us, and I'm just very happy to work with these people. They're lovely, they're great, they're talented, they make really cool, bat poop crazy music that I'm very excited about. So it's just great to have them on the team with us. And yeah, that's it. Go listen. It's great. Do it.
Right. Reason number 9. On the road when we were in Spain, we got a grandbaby. Well, Chris got a grandbaby, and I by default became a nanny. We had the news somewhere in the middle of Spain that this little bundle had arrived. We knew she was coming. We just didn't know exactly when she was coming. However, I am so excited to celebrate her first Christmas and just to have and be a part of that family. Her mom and dad and her granddad and her grandma and me, the other grandma, obviously, and her uncle. It's a great family. The Hogg family are a great family. I'm really proud to be a part of that little baby's life. That being said, that's another reason why 2024 didn't suck.
No, don't do that. That's not a Roger salesman. Oh, no. Oh, the Coyotes have now disguised themselves as Roger salesmen, which, if you know, in Canada, aren't that much better, but more people seem to be trusting of it, so their intelligence is growing. I don't know how much longer it is till they get to me, but I hope they just pass by. Today, I'm going to be talking about a festival that I went to this year, and pretty fitting since it's Progmas, because it is Progpower USA I'm talking about. This is a festival that a lot of us in the North American prog and power metal community intervene at every single year to see some amazing bands, and this year was no exception. This year definitely had one of the most stacked lineups I've ever been to, and I got to see a lot of amazing bands I never would have thought I could have seen elsewhere. Some of the standouts definitely included Japanese power metal sensation Love Bites, 80s hair metal legends Winger. Yes, Winger did play a prog festival, and they smoked most of the bands there. Hair metal rules, deal with it. And also, I caught up with my fellow LRP buddy Rowan there. He was only there on day 2, but it was still really great to see him. And I'm not falling for no coyotes masquerading as Roger salesman. My door is barred shut now, so...
Number 10, I want to mention the Loodzware jongens. I know I mentioned them a few times already in the last couple of weeks, but I figured it's something I'm grateful for. Yeah, I'm grateful that they gave me the opportunity this year to sit in their studio and talk about the TDW stuff that I do, the music that I've done and that I'm doing right now, and just in general being such nice guys. And they are doing a national radio show here in the Netherlands. Now, for those of you who live outside of the Netherlands, this might sound a bit odd, but they are really building this really cool show where they're inviting all these metalheads from all these different walks of life and backgrounds, and they give everyone equal time, equal opportunity, and a lot of love. It's basically what I try to do with Layers, like I don't care who I'm interviewing, everyone deserves the spotlight and everyone deserves the limelight, and that's how they do it, and I'm just very happy that guys like that exist. So Sydney, Rutger, Ernst, and Rick, you guys are doing an amazing job. Please keep doing this because it's shows like this that keep the scene going and keep it healthy.
Reason number 10 puts me back to another favorite band and another absolutely fangirl moment, which would be for Beast in Black. Now, I've heard various opinions on Beast in Black. I don't give a shit about any of them, because you know what? I love my Euro trash and my metal mixed together, and I don't care if you think that it's shit. I love Beast in Black, and I will forever love Beast in Black. They got me through some tough times. They got me toe tapping. I went and saw them in London after 3 failed attempts to try and see them. The first being that the show was cancelled, the second being in hospital recovering from surgery, and high as a kite on morphine, but couldn't go, wanted to go, wasn't allowed to go. And then the third time lucky, this year I managed to see them. I dragged Chris with me, and you know what, bless his little socks, the amount of bullet and coke that made it bearable for him, I think that helped. But you know what, I love this band. I will love this band. I will take it to my grave. Anyway, I have got tickets to see them in 2025, so Beast in Black, you are a reason why 2024 did not suck. And if I ever get to meet you in person, I will tell you that. But anyway, that's another fangirl moment for me. I'm not a psycho or anything like that.
Hello, it's James, and I'm shaken up. It seems like the coyotes have left. I don't think they have, but seems the neighborhood's back to normal. All my neighbors that I saw stricken across the snow, blood-stained. It seems like they're all up and back to normal. Maybe this was a crazy dream, I don't know. But today I went outside to feed my Canadian Tim Hortons addiction, and I saw them all, and they looked the same, but I don't trust them, man. I don't trust their eyes, man! Anyways, welcome to day 10 of the 12 days of Progmas. For the final time on this countdown, I'm going to be talking about another one of my favorite albums from this year. And speaking of Canada, we're going to be talking about probably the biggest Canadian metal band currently, and one band that we all look up to around here. It's time to talk about Unleash the Archers. Now, Unleash the Archers definitely released a top 5 album for me this year with Phantoma. And this album is following in the lineage of their past 3 albums, where the album is a concept album. And normally, Unleash the Archers have some sort of sci-fi tint to their music as opposed to fantasy like other power metal bands. It's very much welcomed. This album has some amazing, amazing tracks. Blood Empress, the title track, which is all in letters and numbers, which is really cool, the title. And my personal favorite, Green and Glass. It is a phenomenal record, and the story is about a rogue AI that becomes self-aware and starts experiencing the decay of the world around it. It's very reminiscent of shows like Ghost in the Shell or games like Detroit Become Human. It's very compelling.
I bring you Germany's Evellon and their album Ascending in Synergy, which was released in May of this year. Now, as I've said, both tonight and an infinite number of times to my girlfriend and partner in Prague, the failing of symphonic metal is that you wind up with a lot of bands that are trying to be Nightwish and either not being original enough or not being good enough, and winding up just a morass of so-called female-fronted metal bands that really fail to make their mark or distinguish themselves. Evellon is not one of those, even though if I were to say what band sounds most like Nightwish, I would say Evellon. You know, this album is outstanding in its consistency. It starts off, you know, with a bang, and it keeps you going until the end. And I have to say that one thing that makes doing something like Nightwish and sounding a lot like them come off well, in addition, is that the vocalist, Nella Messerschmidt, is an outstanding vocal talent on the level, a rival of Floor. If you want to argue about that, fine. But give her a listen first before you say that, oh no, you know, they can't be. She can't be.
Number 11. Well, this is one that is very big for me personally. It's a bit less layered reality related, but it's one of the biggest projects I've ever worked on in my life. Bane of the Talebearer is something I've been working on for multiple years, and now it's finally getting to a point that it's really growing, and it's finally coming out in early 2025. We're trying to get the first episode out in January 2025, late January 2025. It's an audio drama with voice acting, music, sound effects, all the stuff that I love doing. We're gonna have artwork in there. We're also looking into maybe turning this into an actual video game, which would be the dream come true. There's like so many good things happening in this project, and it's filling me with so much love and so much joy, and I'm getting so much positivity from everyone involved. I am just, you know, I'm beyond words. So yeah, thank you to each and everyone who's involved in Bane of the Talebearer, because you guys are really making me feel so alive, and it makes me feel so happy.
Now, reason number 11 goes back to Chris, actually. Not only is Chris a fantastic tour manager and a fantastic human being, he is also a fantastic drummer. And this year I was able to support him as a merch capacity for his two bands that played Rebellion Festival up in Blackpool. That would be the Warriors and Surgery Without Research. They had two packed venues, did a load of stuff, and it always makes me proud to see him up there enjoying himself, having fun, and the crowd interacting and the crowd loving it as well. You know what? He's worked very hard. It's fantastic. So, you know what? Rebellion Festival is always full of friends. It's always full of people that you know. And it is such a great scene. And it's such a fun time catching up with other bands that you see through the circuit during the year and just having a good time. So, you know what? Rebellion Festival this year was another reason why 2024 didn't suck.
Okay, so I thought everything was back to normal, but it turns out that I was wrong. I've been hearing scratching at the door for the past 3 nights. I've been hearing the sound of growls and saliva hitting the cold concrete. I don't know how much time I have left. I don't think anyone's coming. But despite all that, it is day 11 of the 12 days of Progmas. Today, I'm going to be doing something a little different that I've been doing for the past few days. I'm actually going to talk about a book series. Now, everyone who's talked to me for longer than 10 seconds knows I'm a gigantic nerd, and I love me some good manga. And I want to talk about a series that I bought years ago, and I finally decided to read it in its entirety. And I'm talking about what many people argue is the greatest manga ever written, or at least one of them, 20th Century Boys. This series is a great series. It is a conspiracy thriller. It involves politics. It involves all this crazy that I can't even bother to, I can't even explain in a short video. But all I'll say is that the premise that it takes place from the main character Kenji's point of view. He is just your average Joe working at a convenience store, and he slowly starts to unravel the underworld of a cult that's slowly taking over Japan, that somehow has ties to events that he himself committed as a child. So he already seems like he's going to be intertwined in this in somehow. And then the story just goes every single direction you could probably think of, and includes everything and your mom's kitchen sink included. Anyways, I don't normally recommend stuff like this, but this is a must read, so go check it out. It's absolutely amazing.
And for the 11th night of Progmas, we take you to Sweden for one of the most idiosyncratic metal acts that I have heard. This band is called Dampf, and their sophomore album, No Angels Alive, was released in August of this year, and you know, it's one banger after the next. The main composer of Dampf also composes and produces Swedish pop. I've checked it out, and you know, it's not bad. Not at all. So this is something that sounds like what you would get if you had, you know, goth rock, bang power metal, and poop out a monstrosity. This is metal that will get you dancing.
And finally, on the 12th day of Progmas, I want to look forward to 2025 because 2025 is going to bring us multiple new releases. Like I mentioned before, 7 Stations got a new release, HTETHTHEMETH's got a new release. There might be something brewing in Scotland that might become something really cool. I don't want to spoil anything, but you can put one and one together. There's like, obviously, Talebearer is starting in 2025. 2025 is really going to be a productive year with a lot of really cool stuff, and I'm just so excited. I'm so excited for it because once that is all coming out, we can really show the world what layered reality is all about. And for me, layered reality always has been, well, as the quote says, to expand the boundaries of music, to put new music out that doesn't sound like anything else. And I feel that with all the bands that are here now, all the artists that are joining us, like everyone is contributing to that vision. And I'm just so incredibly grateful for that. Like ending 2024 with this kind of gratitude really means a lot. And all of you guys, everyone who's been mentioned on this list, everyone you've seen talking so far, you guys are all great. And I also just want to thank the people who work at Layered Reality, Lauren, James, Rowan, and everyone who's contributed over the years. You guys, I love you guys, you're great. You've really helped make this what it is right now. I mean, I'm sitting in front of this camera telling you about this because, yeah, we're here and we're still doing it. And we are proving to the world, to the music industry and to the world that there's a place for things like this. And I want to keep doing that for a long, long time. You guys are not going to get rid of us yet.
Right, so the 12th and final reason why 2024 did not suck, well, for me, that was the people that I got to meet in 2024. People who made a difference in my life, and people who I enjoyed having around me in 2024. People who I consider to be friends and important. You know what? That's the final reason why 2024 didn't suck. For me, anyway. So in a little photographic montage, these are the people in 2024 who helped me, made me feel good, and gave me a great year. And I love and appreciate every single one of you. So, on that note, I'm going to say that's my 12 days of Progmas all wrapped up. Now, obviously, if there's anything that you want us to do next year, then don't hesitate to put it in the comments. And whatever you're doing this Christmas and whoever you're spending it with, you know what? It doesn't matter what you've spent on them. It's the time you spend with them. Family, friends, co-workers, whoever they might be. Even if it's your pet dog is the only person that you've got on Christmas, well, you know what? That's all that matters. Everything else is irrelevant. So, have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holiday, whatever you guys plan on celebrating and however you guys plan on celebrating.
Finally, we go to Finland itself for Lost in Grey, their 4th album, Odyssey Into the Grey. This is a band that I've been following since their first album. That was released in 2017. And they tend to release albums every couple of years. And the story that was begun on the first album continues to play out over the course of these 4 albums, with the members of the band and guests taking consistent roles throughout all 4. You have 3 main characters in the story in a dynamic that reminds me of Jean-Paul Sartre's play, No Exit. The play of one against the other, balancing and unbalancing one another throughout a story that unfolds in 4 albums and shows no signs of being done.
Hello everyone, it's happened, ladies and gentlemen. The coyotes have gotten in, they're clawing at my door, my kitchen's been ransacked, and all of my furniture has thoroughly been humped. But before I go deal with that, I just want to spend the last day of 12 Days of Progmas talking about this past year and obviously things to come in 2025. So to say that this past year has been, you know, everyone likes to say peaks and valleys, but this past year has definitely been mountains and abysses, I will say. But I just wanted to take this time to say that I'm so grateful for all the good things that have happened this year. I have my bandmates and my friends in the music scene, the label that I work with, LRP, Psychomantium, all these other people that I work with. I'm very grateful. I love all of you. And This year has been able to be a great one in the sense that I've been taking my health seriously for the first time in my life, and it's brought nothing but good things. And I've gotten to do some things musically that if I told teenage James about it, he would be so stoked to hear it. And now, on to 2025. We're gonna have a lot of amazing stuff. Finally gonna have new music coming out. Gonna have a lot of great opportunities live and otherwise in music, and I just want to be able to try and nurture all the relationships that I can for next year. So, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, LRP, for having me. I love you all, and I need to go deal with these f***ing coyotes. So, I'm here. I'm shaking. I need to take a little sip of my eggnog that is mostly booze. All right, let's do this. I have my coyote clipper.